continue now with our discussion with Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Let's talk a little politics now. Okay. The midterm elections are coming up, and I guess I just want to get a sense for you. We've seen in recent months the election of Connor Lamb, a more conservative Democrat in Pennsylvania, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a Democratic socialist in the Bronx in New York. What is the Democratic Party today?
The Democratic Party is the same thing that it has always been, a big tent, one that can really sustain a broad range of philosophical perspectives and that focuses on making sure that we have people in office who stand up for people who have no voice, for justice, and to make sure that we can have government policy that takes care of helping people reach the middle class. But
all right. So what do you think? What do you think the idea is that we're going to have for the midterm elections?
I think Democrats are going to win the majority because the American people have made clear that they want to make sure that they have a check on the unchecked power and move towards autocracy and the abusive practices of this administration.
Okay, so and then the question becomes as well, let's talk about some of the local races. You had three competitive races in Miami-Dade County. There was the race to replace Ileana Ros-Lehtinen. You've got the seats being defended by Carlos Curbelo and by Mario Diaz-Balart. Do you see all three of those in play?
You know, I think all three of those races are competitive. There's no question we have good, strong candidates in all three of those races. And, you know, Hillary Clinton won both 27 and 26, Ileana's and Curbelo's district, and Trump only won the Diaz-Balart seat by 2 points. But when I say emphasis on the word competitive, you know, some are more competitive than others. I would say that there's a sort of ascending range of competitiveness.
So this week, Face the Nation was down. They were doing a little focus group, and I got to sit in and watch as they interviewed some of the voters from South Florida. And one of the things that struck me is I'm increasingly of the opinion that while candidates are important, look, I'm not suggesting that you're right, but that party identification is becoming even more critical. That the Democrats they were talking to said they plan on voting for the Democrat almost regardless of who it is because they believe the Democrats need to take back the House. Republicans were saying that they would vote for the Republican almost regardless of who it is because they want to protect Donald Trump from the possibility of impeachment. Is that where we are now?
I think where we are, Jim, is that this election is going to be determined by a huge new infusion of voters who are just simply outraged. They're outraged with the conduct of this administration, with the fact that we have a liar in chief, the fact that there is a culture of corruption that has redescended over the United States Capitol, both in Congress as well as down the street on Pennsylvania Avenue, and they want to make sure that they can have confidence in their government again. And so that's why you have 41% increase in Florida in voter registration
for young people.
For young people,
an amazing number.
The Parkland tragedy,
right.
And so those young people who we are all so proud of, for turning tragedy into activism, I think they're going to make a huge difference in the outcome of elections because they want to have faith and confidence in their elected leaders that they're going to stand up for what they believe in and what's right.
If the Democrats take back the House, two questions. Will Donald Trump be impeached?
I can absolutely tell you that Donald Trump will get the fair shake that he gives no one, and that we will have a fair and thorough investigation that will, as we should, be taken all the way to its just end and not be short-circuited as he has attempted to do.
Let me ask the other one. Let me ask the other part of that. If the Democrats take back the House, will Nancy Pelosi be the Speaker?
You know, I think we're all focused on making sure that we take back the House. First and foremost, Nancy Pelosi, and that's her. Who is Speaker is secondary to her. The fact that we have the opportunity to elect a Speaker so we can change the agenda in this country and help people reach the middle class, protect Medicare, Social Security, and make sure that we can continue to create better jobs, create better wages, and give a better deal for all Americans, that's going to be critical. That's our key focus.
For the people, that's the new slogan.
You know what? We've always stood up for the people, and we will continue to do that.
It's also the slogan for one of your favorite guys' law firm, John Morgan. Morgan & Morgan's slogan is "For the people."
Certainly don't pay attention to law firm slogans.
All right. Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, thank you very much for coming in. All right. We'll be right back after the break.